Good morning, Johnny here. This morning I want to talk a little bit about retirement and getting ready for it. It was probably one of the hardest things for my mind to wrap itself around than anything in the past 10 years of my life. I thought at 65, after doing this and planning for things, it would just be easy to shut my brain off from what I did as a job for 20 years and just go and do what I needed to do. But it hit me that my emotions were running pretty high about leaving my responsibilities, leaving my jobs, quote unquote. I wore many hats in the company I worked for, which I was grateful for. To other people, even though I had taken the time to train people over the last few years before my 65th birthday to, be competent in it. And went through more than one in a couple of the things that I was responsible for. And it still seemed to be okay, but to shut that off was very difficult because you were losing your worth. People counted on me to take care of issues, problems, unique situations, things out of their wheelhouse or what they are. Because as I got older in the company, my knowledge was much more important than my skills. Physical skills, doing the actual work. But so at 65, I couldn't turn it off. It took me a whole year till I had my 66th birthday to take my first trip. So we had a little GoPro issue, about going on my first trip. And when I finally did that, I took off to Colorado Springs to go visit my daughter. And when I got there, I started doing all the things that I've been putting on the back burner for the last year, getting ready for trying to actually retire. So joined some yoga classes, did some writing, ended up going to the gym. I haven't done that in a long while. I took my dog to training, Zoom room. If there's one close to you, take your dog to it. The funnest thing I ever had. Great people, at least at the one I was at in Colorado Springs. All the things that I thought didn't have time for, because when you're working, there's always something else to do. Always. I don't care what trade you're in, what business you're in, you can always find something that needs to be done. And that would always take precedence over what I wanted to do for myself. And again, it was my obligation also. But there's just not enough hours in the day to do all that you want, plus work 8 to 10 hours a day. So that trip, which turned out to be the icebreaker for my new lifestyle, we'll put, was way cool. I realized I didn't feel guilty about taking 2 or 3 calls a day, returning 2 or 3 calls a day, solving a little bit of this. My demeanor got better. I started socializing more with the people at the yoga studio, at the gym, made friends with the people at Zoom room. Even we talked about dancing. I used to take dance lessons years ago, and there was a place in there, and went to introductory, and they were so cool. I bought them a gift card to go do introductory lesson just because it was fun. It was just a good conversation with some cool people, and that went to all the coffee shops I went to. I'm a coffee nerd, and I talk coffee. There's a lot of good roasters in Colorado Springs, and I went and I found many of them and talked to the roasters themselves and what's going on. And I know enough that they know I know enough. Let me put it that way. So I had a blast doing all that. Came back, end of trip. You know, I had a little work to do on the van because the winterization, it was cold out there, and my van was built in Vegas in the heat, and I knew I was going to be cold, but I did a pretty good job on the insulation and all that, and we'll go over that on a bunch of other videos I got, but I still had to do some things to keep myself warm out there, and then came back and finished those up, and a couple things broke. And when I got to California, and I'm fixing those, and now I'm out in San Bernardino working on getting back into photography daily. You know, and that's a big thing. I mean, I took my test out here for the PPA with the help of California Digital Arts. They were way cool. Guy that owns that was a friend of mine, or still a friend of mine, that I'm not in so much contact with him anymore, but he helped me out quite a bit to get that. He gave me the inspiration to become a photographer. And I have a little gig going on with a fashion photographer in the Melrose District in LA, and that really is enjoyable. She has taught me a lot. I mean, being a studio photographer is not my thing, but a lot of those techniques can be used anywhere, but it's the editing that is her forte, and just, yeah, it's way cool. But anyway, a little sidetrack. Just being able to get away and realize that you're not indispensable is kind of a cool feeling. I was afraid of that. And that, like I said a little bit earlier, that my worth was diminishing. Maybe as I got older, it wasn't needed anymore. Like I say, it's conflicting emotions, but I found out that I am still respected. I'm still needed for some of the bigger things now, or some of the ones that are unfamiliar, because when I talk to people, they're usually already mad or in trouble. Well, not say mad, they're, in a pickle. That's the best way to put it. There's a problem that needs to be solved, and I'm a good problem solver in my field. And so I'm all good with that. I don't have to deal with the minute problems anymore, or the smaller ones that I've showed other people in the office how to do. Pretty cool. I'm very fortunate to be able to have that kind of relationship in retirement. Anyway, kind of got a little sidetracked. I'm sure you guys can all relate with that, because that's just the way we get as we get older. We bounce around a little bit, and, as things come, other things get thrown out. But anyway, be careful when you get ready to retire. Plan a few shorter trips before you go. Maybe you're doing that all along, but I couldn't. I don't, this is one of those things to where it just kind of hit me in the face. I thought it was all good, but it wasn't. It was a transition that's still going on today, but I am much more comfortable now, and I'm ready to go out and have the adventure that I wanted to start. Well, now 2 years ago. It's almost my birthday again, but better late than never, right? Bye for now.